Hi everyone, it's Rainer again. This is Rainier Books, it's my channel about books on BookTube, and today I think it's time to talk about the Women's Prize for Fiction and about a prediction who is going to win it. The winner is going to be announced next Wednesday, which is September the 9th in London. It was supposed to be announced already in the spring. It was postponed because of the pandemic, and we have 6 books in the competition, the shortlist, and I'm going to go through them with you a little bit here. But let me speak a little bit about the Women's Prize, about the background. The Women's Prize had different sponsors over the years. There was a British mobile phone company called Orange, and then it was called the Orange Prize, Women's Orange Prize for Fiction, and then there was British or Irish liquor producer named Bailey's. I'm making a lot of advertisements now for them. There are many others. And it was called the Bailey's Prize for Fiction. Now it's just called the Women's Prize for Fiction. There is no direct sponsor anymore for that prize, but the winner gets 30,000 British pounds. 30,000 British pounds for the winner of the Women's Prize. And last year the prize went to an American Match by Hilary Jones. I haven't read that book. I have read the winner of 2018, which is Home Fire by Camilla Shamsi. I still have on my shelves here from the library the winners of 2017, Naomi Alderman's The Power, and 2016's winner Lisa McInerney's Glorious Heresies, books that I really want to read until this year is finished at least. So the 6 books that are nominated. One more rule before we go into that. The rule is that any book written by a woman in English can be nominated for the Women's Prize that has been published in the United Kingdom from April 1, 2019 to March 31, 2020. And we have on the shortlist 2 books that were actually both published on May 2nd in 2019 and 4 books that were published in 2020. The authors' age range on the shortlist this is from 46 years to 68 years. The youngest is Natalie Haynes, 46 years old. The oldest author is Hilary Mantel, she's 68 years old right now. And now let's get to the books on the shortlist. I give them in alphabetical order. Number 1 then would be of the last name of the author. Number 1 would be an American author, Angie Cruz, and her novel Dominicana. Dominicana is a novel about immigration, about a young woman from the Dominican Republic coming to New York in the 1960s, about her difficult life there, and about how it's a symbolic novel, I think, about how the women of this generation of immigrants that came to the United States fought their way into a decent life, which was a very tough life in the beginning for mostly all of these women. It's a very compelling book. I read it on my Kindle, I read it as an ebook, and I think it's a beautiful story of immigration. It's very easy to read. Many people have criticized that Dominicana came on the shortlist, but I think it deserves a spot on the shortlist. The rules for the Women's Prize, actually, they say that the best work of fiction by a woman in the English language should be winning the prize, which and no more other rules. But I always think also of which sujets the authors are tackling in their stories. What are they writing about? And Dominicana is a story about women, about feminism, definitely about a feminist story about how women from the Dominican Republic made their way into the lives in the American immigration in New York City. So I think it's it deserves to be among those titles. Second out is a book that I have here. I can show it to you. That's beautiful, isn't it? This is one of my favorites, of course, of this year, Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. That was published on May 2nd already last year. Many of you have read it last year, and I saw. The problem for Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo might be that this book has already been praised so highly with the Booker Prize that it has won one of the most prestigious awards that you can win in the field of literature all around the world. and that might stop the jury to choose something different. That might bring the jury to choose something different because they want to uplift another author, another work. Evaristo is really has been risen a lot through this prize, although she had to share it with Margaret Atwood's The Testaments last year. And I really want to read more of Bernardine Evaristo. I looked at her other works here, and I'm very interested in Mr. Loverman, which is a novel about immigration, the Caribbean immigration to London in the 1960s. Hello Mom is another interesting book about gangs in London. And there's a lot of Bernardine Evaristo that's really interesting me. But I think maybe she has already gotten her time in the limelight, and maybe she doesn't have to be. She's not going to be uplifted once more. Natalie Haynes is the third author who is nominated. After so bright weather outside, so too much light in my face. Okay. Natalie Haynes is the third author who is nominated for the International Women Prize, who's on the shortlist with her novel 1,000 Ships, from exactly the same date as Bernardine Evaristo's novel Girl, Woman, Other, published on May 2nd in 2019 already. She's the youngest author on the list. She is an author who has sort of specialized herself. She's very much into Greek mythology, into Greek history, and 1,000 Ships is also a story about a feminist story about what happened to the women of the Trojan War from an all-female perspective. That is the sujet of 1,000 Ships, and she has written lots of other books that really deal with topics of the Greek history. I don't know, I haven't read the book. 1,000 Ships, it might win, it might not win. You never know that with awards, because Haynes hasn't been that much winning and getting praise for her work. She might as well take the prize, because she seems to have written a very feminist book about history that is usually seen out of the perspective of men. Could be an interesting thing for the jury. The oldest author is Hilary Mantel. I don't have to present her with her third novel about David Cromwell, the final novel, 800 pages, The Mirror and the Light. She's the super duper favorite for the Booker to win the hat trick there, and that might be another reason why she's not the big favorite for the International Women's Prize of 2020, because the jury might think she's anyway going to take the Booker. Number 5 on the list, 48 years old, is a very beloved Northern Irish author, British author from Northern Ireland. Her name is Maggie O'Farrell. She has written her 8th novel, Hamlet. No, not Hamlet, but Hamnet, of course, which is about a fact in William Shakespeare's biography that not so many people know about. William Shakespeare had twins, a girl and a boy. The boy's name was Hamnet, and he died 11 years old. And that's what the novel by Maggie O'Farrell is about this private tragedy in Shakespeare's life and how it affected the family. And all of you who have read this book have loved it, have raved about it. So I think this might be the super duper favorite for the International Women Prize. There are other novels that I'm really interested in by Maggie O'Farrell. When I look through her work, it's just The Distance Between Us seems to be very interesting to me, and the book that won the Costa Prize, the novel that won the Costa Prize for her, is The Hand That, oh my god, this would be The Hand That First Held Mine. Interesting books by Maggie O'Farrell, who's writing a lot about family but also about loss. And Hamnet is a book about family and about Hamnet's death led Shakespeare a couple of years later to write his incredible famous play Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. The last book, I've read the last book on the shortlist. It's a very small book. It's Weather by Jenny Offill. I have reviewed it, I have given it a single review that I can link to up here, and you can see the single video. I was not so enthusiastic about Weather as many of you are. This is a book written in short clips, short snips, short snippets, I don't know how to call that, appropriately. Jenny Offill is an American author. She has written a similar novel concerning the aesthetics, concerning the style, and that was The Department of Speculation, which was also shortlisted for the Folio Prize and the International Dublin Literary Award. Jenny hasn't won that bigly in her career yet, and maybe she wins the International Women's Prize for this one. It's about a woman, a librarian without the education for being a librarian, who is getting more and more immersed into the topic of climate change and who's not actually doing anything against it like we all do. We all read the news and do nothing against that. The world is moving not slowly, but faster and faster towards catastrophe. And this is a good book. So I said I read Dominicana, I read Girl, Woman, Other, and I read Weather. If I should say what's the best of these three novels, I would definitely say Girl, Woman, Other is the best of these three novels that I have read. The other three I haven't read, but from what you have said, Maggie O'Farrell, Hamnet would be the probably the book that most booktubers have raved about. And since Evaristo has already won the Booker Prize, I think my prediction is that Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell wins the Women's Prize next week on Wednesday. Let's see if that comes in. If we get 10 points for that, that would be just great. That was my prediction video for the International Women's Prize. And speaking about women, I might also say that what I've done last week, I'm continuing my interest in women's soccer on another YouTube channel. I continue Zoom interviews with women who play soccer, who play football. And last week I talked to a wonderful player from Finland. She's the most successful goal scorer in the history of Finnish football, Linda Selström. If any one of you, just a few people, are interested in that, I put a link down to that Zoom interview that I had with Linda below. Now, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for listening. What is your prediction for the Women's Prize? Please drop a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already doing that. And please come back to my next video, which is going to be released very, very soon. Thank you very much. Stay safe and stay cheerful. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.